Hey, it's Tim Terrio back again. Hanging out with Steve Sobonya, Kim Tirapelle up at the Fresno EDGE, talking about matching training cycles, Steve's world with nutrition, and then I'll throw in my 2 cents if we run into any injury or therapeutic questions. But I think that's the goal of what we try to do at the Edge, right? Is to have one location have all of our expertises together. Last time we got together, we talked about football and the big guys, and right now they were on the max strength phase. Let's switch over to the other end of the spectrum in our female athletes with volleyball players. When we talked volleyball is a different breed because they play almost year round, right?
Yep.
So where are we at with them training wise?
Again, when we say different breed, the reason being is that the college and the high school season, especially for the girls, is in the fall, and the real important club volleyball time is in the spring, because a lot of these gals are going to tournaments that they're trying to get recruited, and that's where a lot of recruiting takes place. So they basically have 2 seasons, kind of. So is what I do with them now. We're in that spring season now with a lot of big qualifiers coming up and so on.
Yeah, this is real heavy in club, right?
Yes.
The club is building to usually June when they...
Correct. And so they're really only playing real important tournaments every once a month.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different than it is during the regular in-season. If we were talking about the fall season, we'd be in the true max strength phase for them too, just like a football guy,
okay,
with some considerations for their sport. Usually these gals are built longer and lankier and so on, so the loads, I'm not going to load them as much. We've got to watch out. The stabilization phase was probably a lot longer in this because, again, longer segments, we've got to make sure we stabilize the hips and the core a lot more and so on.
Sure.
But the idea still during this time is to build strength. So I've got to, with volleyballers, because we're trying to peak them about once a month for these big tournaments, I've kind of, again, look at those prerequisite phases to be very important. But now that we're trying to gain strength, we are, the first couple weeks after a tournament, we'll work ourselves a little bit heavier, and then I'll back off more so into power with the idea of trying to increase some of the vertical jumps. So we test them right before they go to these tournaments and have their stuff.
So with them, you're just condensing down to more like microcycles.
Yes, very
just
small.
Condensing it down because of the time frame.
And I've had good results with it. And this group of gals that we're working with right now, we've got, I think there's 6 or 7 teams that we have, and in addition to a high school team that I'm working with, that we've had really good results with it, with doing that. And right after this series of tournaments, we go into about a 2.5 month time that we get ready for the actual high school season, which is in the fall. And then I can kind of recycle everything, go back into a quick stabilization phase. Don't spend as much time in hypertrophy, go more so into power and power endurance and so on. It's different in high school because now they're playing 2 matches a week, sometimes 3, depending on tournament schedules and stuff like that. They're practicing every day with their high school team as compared to club. A lot of times they only practice twice a week and the weekend. So it's a whole different dynamic. But again, the idea right now is to build strength, but then I back off to let them recover and so on. So.
Yeah, but you bring up a good point because they're practicing a couple practices a week and longer plus training, so they're getting in several hours of activity.
Yes.
Right. And I think football is one of the cleanest ones because it's just one season, and then the rest of the year you prepare. All these other sports we're going to talk about, you're playing, you're training. So nutrition-wise, when you're trying to club volleyball, right now they're practicing, they're playing, they're training, they still got school.
Right.
So how do we set them up?
Well, the biggest thing for them, again, with female athletes in particular, is making sure, number one, that they're meeting their overall energy needs in terms of just calories. A lot of female athletes, and being volleyball, being, the musculature of a volleyball player is important for, explosive power and so forth. I find that oftentimes a lot of sports where, think of volleyball, they're in spandex and they're in, tight shirts. Some of those aesthetic sports also will, a lot of females will reduce their intake, and that's not beneficial. Still need to have carbohydrates, still have to have obviously a good amount of protein, and then the remainder of the diet coming from fat. So I really focus on the ladies just eating balanced meal plans, meeting their needs. If they are in a phase where they're trying to lose some weight, that we will look at reducing calories. But again, carbohydrates kind of get thrown in the back sometimes, especially with female athletes, and they're very important, especially for volleyball.
Yeah. And I think you bring up a good point. Talking to my friends that are certified athletic trainers at colleges, and the few in high schools, but it seems like the trend now is exactly, and even guys, they said they're seeing this where athletes will come in and be dizzy, and a good friend of mine said his first question now is, "What have you eaten today? What have you drank today?"
Right.
And we have athletes trying to accomplish all this training and all this stuff, and the answer is a piece of bread, or a rock star that we made fun of last time.
Right.
And I'm thinking, you're going to go do all this work,
right?
And you're going to go train, and you're going to practice to not fuel?
Yeah, and you're going to get run down, you're going to see injuries happen, and then all the work that you've put into it, it kind of goes to nothing. So yeah, energy, the overall, eating on a schedule, just like we're talking about nutrition with the periodization of what training cycle you're in, it's the same from day to day too. You need to be eating on a schedule depending upon if you've practiced. You should be eating something before and after. And it's really important for athletes.
One of the things that you helped us with our club volleyball teams is that I try to require the gals to eat something. So one team is practicing while the other team is training, and then they switch. The team that's just finished their practice and goes into training, I give them about a 5-minute break to eat something, whether it be a granola bar or something like that, just so they get a cup, maybe 100 calories or 200 calories. Right. And then the team that got done training goes into practice, I require them to eat as well, and it's made a significant difference in their energy level.
Absolutely, and it'll help with recovery too.
Yeah.
I've noticed that with the gals at Clovis West training. On the days that we've had like an assembly schedule where they eat before they come to work out with me, their workouts are better. And you're right, those young female athletes, they're not good about getting their breakfast in all the time and stuff, because they're trying to cut calories, and that's not the best thing. It's not performance-wise, it kills them.
When I was talking to Dr. Nick, the sports psychologist, he brought up the whole in creating the environment, and he said, he threw in rest too, and it seems like if you skimp on your rest, you stay up late, goof around, or homework or whatever, and then you're skimping on your nutrition, then all of a sudden you're not feeling good.
Right.
So you go to train, and now you're not training well because you don't have the energy to train. So then you go home and you don't feel good, and then you decide, well, the heck with it, I'm not going to eat. I'm going to eat what I want because I'm not feeling happy.
Right.
And then I'm going to sit up again, and he calls it the downward spiral. And then where's it show up for athletes? It shows up on the playing court, on the field, and all of a sudden they're thinking, oh God, what's going on? I'm not playing very well. Well, you didn't do what you needed to do to create the environment for peak performance.
Right.
And I think what you can see now is having a team approach, because there's so much information on the training side, so much information on the nutrition side, the sports psychology side, the therapy side, that it's really important to surround yourself with a team of people that can help you reach your max potential.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon.